It was the battle that shocked the world. In just 6 weeks, Germany crushed France and its allies in a lightning-fast campaign. But how did one of the world's strongest armies fall so quickly? Was it superior German tactics or critical Allied mistakes? This is the story of the fall of France. After the invasion of Poland, Britain and France expected a prolonged war and relied heavily on their defensive strategies, particularly the Maginot Line. However, Hitler was determined to avoid a repeat of World War I's static trench warfare. In 1940, Germany launched Full Gelb, Case Yellow, a swift and unexpected offensive through the Ardennes, bypassing the heavily fortified Maginot Line. This led to the rapid encirclement of Allied forces in Belgium and northern France, culminating in the Dunkirk evacuation. France, caught off guard by the speed and aggression of the German Blitzkrieg, fell within weeks. Hitler's initial strategy was a straightforward invasion through Belgium, but then came a game-changer, the Manstein Plan. Instead of a direct assault, Germany would feint an attack in Belgium to lure Allied forces north. Meanwhile, the real strike would punch through the dense Ardennes forest, terrain the Allies believed was impassable. Once through, German forces would race to the English Channel, cutting off Allied troops in Belgium and sealing their fate. May 10, 1940, Germany launches its long-awaited assault on Western Europe. In a stunning display of coordination, German paratroopers seize vital bridges in Belgium and the Netherlands before the Allies can destroy them. The swift airborne strikes pave the way for the advancing German forces. Believing this is the main attack, Britain and France rush their best troops into Belgium to stop the German advance. The Allies commit heavily, convinced they are blocking the enemy's primary push, but it's all a trap. While the Allies are drawn north, the real German offensive barrels through the Ardennes, bypassing their strongest defenses and setting the stage for a devastating encirclement. Meanwhile, German tanks thunder through the Ardennes, a route the French believed was impassable. But German engineers clear the way, carving paths through the dense forest at remarkable speed. A lone French reconnaissance plane spots the massive enemy column moving through the trees and reports it back to high command. But the warning is dismissed. French generals remain convinced the Ardennes is no real threat. As a result, the French defenses at Sedan are thin and unprepared when the German forces arrive. Then, the Luftwaffe strikes. Waves of relentless bombing shatter French positions, overwhelming the defenders and opening the floodgates for the German breakthrough. The French High Command finally grasps the scale of their mistake, but it's too late. German tanks are already surging toward the English Channel, carving a path through northern France and sealing the fate of the Allied armies trapped in Belgium. Panic spreads as the once secure defensive lines collapse under the relentless Blitzkrieg. Determined to turn the tide, the British launch a counterattack near Arras, spearheaded by their heavily armored Matilda tanks. These steel behemoths shrug off German anti-tank fire, offering a glimmer of hope. But the Germans have a deadly answer, the 88mm flak gun. Originally designed to shoot down aircraft, the powerful cannon proves just as lethal against tanks. With precise and devastating fire, the German gunners tear through the British armor, halting the counterattack in its tracks. The counterattack fails, the German Blitzkrieg rages on, and the Allies are running out of time. As the relentless German advance pushes deeper into France, the Allied forces are shattered, splitting them in two. Trapped in the seaside town of Dunkirk, 400,000 British and French troops find themselves with their backs to the sea, encircled by the enemy on three sides. With the Luftwaffe dominating the skies and German panzers closing in, the situation appears hopeless. The fate of the British Expeditionary Force and a large portion of the French army hangs in the balance as the last escape route threatens to be cut off. Adolf Hitler orders a temporary halt to the German panzer divisions outside Dunkirk, giving the Allies a crucial window to organize an evacuation. The reasons for this decision are still debated by historians today, but its significance is immense. Operation Dynamo begins as the British Royal Navy and hundreds of civilian boats race across the English Channel to rescue as many soldiers as possible. A total of 338,000 Allied troops are successfully evacuated, but much of their equipment is left behind. The miracle of Dunkirk is born. As the German Blitzkrieg tore through France in the spring of 1940, the French military faced an existential crisis. The once mighty army, believed to be among the strongest in Europe, found itself overwhelmed by Germany's lightning-fast tactics and superior coordination. With the British retreating from Dunkirk and much of northern France under German control, the French forces attempted one final stand. Despite their courage, morale among French troops was shattered. Weeks of relentless fighting, devastating air raids by the Luftwaffe, and the realization that Britain could no longer provide immediate assistance left soldiers exhausted and disheartened. Some units continued to resist, desperately holding defensive lines, but many others saw little hope in continuing the fight. With German forces advancing at an alarming pace, the French command knew their situation was dire. As the Wehrmacht pushed southward, the fate of France's capital hung in the balance. Fearing a brutal siege that would cost countless civilian lives, French officials made the painful decision to declare Paris an open city, meaning no military defense would be mounted, sparing it from destruction. This move, while strategic, was also a symbolic surrender, a recognition that France had lost control of its own destiny. On June 14, 1940, German troops entered Paris unopposed. The once bustling city, known for its culture, history, and resistance to tyranny, fell silent under occupation. Swastika banners were draped over landmarks, and Nazi soldiers marched through the streets that had once symbolized freedom and revolution. France, humiliated and broken, would soon sign an armistice, marking the end of its resistance, at least for the time being. As the French army was in disarray, the French Prime Minister Paul Reynaud resigned on June 16, 1940. He was succeeded by Marshal Philippe Pétain, who addressed the nation via radio, solemnly announcing his intention to seek an armistice with Nazi Germany. The news reached Adolf Hitler swiftly. Seizing the moment to exact revenge for Germany's humiliation in World War I, he chose the forest of Compiègne as the site of the negotiations, the very place where Germany had surrendered in 1918. To drive the symbolism home, the meeting would take place inside the same railway carriage where the original armistice had been signed. On June 21, Hitler personally arrived at the site, taking a seat in the exact chair where Marshal Ferdinand Foch had once sat while accepting Germany's surrender. After hearing the preamble read aloud, he stood up abruptly and left, a deliberate show of contempt for the French delegation. The negotiations were left in the hands of Wilhelm Keitel, the Chief of Staff of the German High Command. On July 6, 1940, Adolf Hitler presided over a grand victory parade in Berlin, celebrating Nazi Germany's swift and decisive conquest of France during World War II. The parade, held along the Unter den Linden Boulevard, was a meticulously orchestrated spectacle designed to showcase German military strength and boost public morale. Thousands of cheering spectators lined the streets as columns of Wehrmacht troops, tanks, and artillery rumbled through the city. Hitler, standing at the new Reich Chancellery, saluted the triumphant soldiers, while high-ranking Nazi officials, including Hermann Göring and Joseph Goebbels, looked on. The event was heavily propagandized, with massive swastika banners and orchestrated chants celebrating Germany's military supremacy. The victory parade was intended to cement Hitler's image as an invincible leader and reinforce confidence in his plans for future expansion. However, despite the display of power, the conflict was far from over, and the celebrations masked the looming challenges of war, particularly against Britain and the Soviet Union. While the French government surrendered, the Free French movement, led by Charles de Gaulle, vowed to continue the fight from exile. Underground resistance networks began to form, ensuring that while Paris had fallen, the spirit of France had not been extinguished. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe for more history content, and let us know in the comments, what do you think was the most decisive battle of World War II?